Ines Eldin, the eldest daughter of Count Editor, is a force to be reckoned with, known for her exceptional business skills and stunning beauty. She's a celebrity in the upper class, famous for single-handedly rebuilding her family's fortune, which was on the verge of collapse. As she scans the newspaper, she thinks back to a recent mishap where a boat caught fire during a cooking session. It was a strange incident, but Ines is not one to dwell on the past. She's a woman on a mission, and she's currently on her way to the bank to discuss a potential investment opportunity. Ines is a savvy businesswoman, always on the lookout for the next big thing, and she's not afraid to take risks. As she arrives at the bank, she's greeted by a familiar face who's clearly a fan and can't help but stare at her in awe. Ines is used to this kind of attention, and she takes it in stride, smiling politely as she makes her way to the meeting room. She's known for her beauty and her business acumen, earning her the nickname Goddess of Investment, and she's determined to live up to that reputation. However, her recent string of bad luck has left some people doubting her abilities, and she's eager to prove them wrong. As she enters the bank, she's met with a mixture of admiration and skepticism. Some people whisper about her recent losses, while others can't help but stare at her beauty. Ines is focused on her goal, and she's not letting anyone bring her down. She's determined to make her next investment a success, no matter what it takes. As she meets with the bank officials, she's asked about her marriage plans, and she's taken aback by the question. But she takes it in stride, laughing politely as she responds. Ines is a woman who can handle anything that comes her way, and she's not going to let a little thing like marriage get in the way of her business goals. Meanwhile, the bank officials are whispering among themselves, wondering if Ines has lost her touch. They're skeptical about her ability to make a successful investment, but Ines is determined to prove them wrong. As the meeting comes to a close, Ines stands up, ready to take on the challenge ahead. She's a force to be reckoned with, and she's not going to let anyone bring her down. With her determination and business savvy, Ines is ready to take on the world. Ines Eldin is a woman who values her independence, and she's not afraid to speak her mind. She's a strong-willed individual who always says what she thinks. When asked about marriage, she replies with a hint of sarcasm, "Must I get married?" She's been hearing that question a lot lately, and she's getting tired of it. Ines is a busy woman, focused on making money and building her business empire. She doesn't have time for marriage, and she's not apologizing for it. When someone asks her how much she earns, implying that she must be wealthy enough to get married, Ines has a clever response. She quietly shows them her bank book, and most people are left speechless. It's a clever way to shut down the conversation and assert her independence. She's a woman who knows her worth, and she's not afraid to show it. Ines has a unique ability that sets her apart from others. She can see the misfortune that will befall someone just by shaking their hand or touching them. It's a handy skill that has helped her make smart investments and avoid bad decisions. However, a month ago, her ability suddenly disappeared, leaving her feeling lost and uncertain. She's not sure what's going on or how to get her ability back. Now, Ines is facing a new challenge. She's lost her investment money and has become a hostage. She's trying to stay calm and focused, but it's not easy. As she looks around, she notices the robber who's frantically searching for something. He's shouting and causing a scene, and Ines can't help but think that he's being a bit dramatic. The robber is worried about his documents, and Ines is amused by his carefree attitude. Despite the chaos around her, she's trying to stay calm and think clearly. She's a smart woman, and she's not going to let the situation get the best of her. She's thinking on her feet and trying to come up with a plan. As she waits for the guards to arrive, Ines is thinking about her next move. She has an appointment at noon, and she's not going to let this delay her. She's a woman on a mission, and she's not going to let anyone or anything get in her way. She's determined to succeed, and she's not going to let this setback hold her back. The robber's eyes widen in surprise as he realizes who Ines is. "Eldin? Did you just call her Eldin? Ha, if it's the Eldin family, the ransom price will be huge." He lunges at Ines, but Kallad Asdeon, the leader of the 3rd Imperial Knights Troop, intervenes, sword in hand, and says, "Put down your weapon, you're surrounded." The other robber warns him to stay back, but Kallad is undaunted, and he's clearly not afraid of a fight. Ines, sensing an opportunity, offers to help Kallad with his paperwork, and he accepts, seemingly grateful for her assistance. As they walk to the VIP reception room, Ines can't help but think about the sudden return of her ability. She's shocked and a little confused, but she's trying to stay calm. She's also thinking about Kallad and how he seems to be oblivious to her inner turmoil. He's focused on the task at hand, and he's not letting anything distract him. Ines, on the other hand, is distracted. She's thinking about her ability and how it seems to be working again, but she's not sure how long it will last. As they arrive at the VIP reception room, Ines is greeted by the familiar sight of luxury and comfort. She's been in rooms like this before, and she knows how to navigate them. Kallad, however, seems a little out of place. He's a warrior, not a businessman, and he's not used to this kind of luxury. After the ordeal, Ines asks Kallad if he's hurt, and he replies that she must have been very afraid. He's concerned about her, and he's trying to be gentle. Ines brushes off his concern, but can't help but wonder if her ability has truly returned. She's not sure what's going on, and she's trying to figure it out. She suggests visiting the doctor's office, but Kallad declines. He's not interested in seeing a doctor, and he's not going to let Ines push him into it. Ines then proposes a trip to the racecourse where she uses her ability to predict the winner of a horse race. She's not sure if her ability will work, but she's willing to try. The crowd is shocked as horse number 6, the underdog, wins the race. Ines's ability seems to be working again, but she's not sure how long it will last. As she celebrates her win, she slams her hand on the table. Frustrated that her ability has disappeared again, she's not sure what's going on, and she's getting a little annoyed. She thinks to herself, the ability came back for just one day. What kind of nonsense is this? Ines is determined to figure out what's going on with her ability. But for now, she's left with more questions than answers. Ines is trying to figure out why her ability returned, and she's thinking back to the events of the day. She's remembering her encounter with Kallad Asdeon and how her ability suddenly came back. She's curious about Kallad, and she's decided to do some research on him. She wants to know more about this mysterious man. Kallad Asdeon, the son of Marquis Asdeon, is a complex figure. He's the current owner of the infamous Demon Sword, a powerful artifact with a rich history. Kallad's past is marked by challenges. He was born in an orphanage and later adopted by the Marquis family, but despite being part of a wealthy family, his life has been far from easy. He's had his share of ups and downs, but mostly downs, and Ines can't help but wonder how this has affected his personality. Kallad's reputation is a testament to his complicated past, and Ines is starting to understand why he's earned this reputation. The demon sword, Tigrios, is a powerful artifact that can cut down even the sacred trees. It's said to appear only once in a very long time, and its owners are always chosen by the sword itself. However, there's a catch. Every owner of the demon sword has struggled with its power within a year of wielding it. This has led the paladins to keep a close eye on the owners, and when the time comes, they'll work to support them. Ines is starting to realize that Kallad's life is more complicated than she initially thought, and she's curious to see how this will all play out. She's thinking about how Kallad's life has been affected by the demon sword, and how this has shaped him into the person he is today. Ines is also wondering about the paladins and their role in supporting the owners of the demon sword. She's curious to learn more about their involvement. As Ines continues to think about Kallad and the demon sword, she's starting to piece together the complexities of their story, and she's eager to learn more. Ines is aware that the owners of the demon sword have a limited time before they lose control, and she's thinking about Kallad Asdeon's situation. She's realizing that he has about a year left before he meets the same fate, a year from now. And that's a pretty tight deadline. She's not sentimental about it, though, and she's already thinking about how she can use this information to her advantage. She's a practical person, and she's not going to let emotions get in the way. Ines wants to meet Kallad, but she's having trouble finding a way to make it happen. So she's decided to take matters into her own hands. She's a woman who gets things done. She's learned that Kallad visits his favorite weapon shop on the first Wednesday of every month, and she's come up with a plan to meet him there. It's a clever plan, and she's hoping it will pay off. Ines has bought the weapon shop, and she's waiting for Kallad to show up. She's thinking that if she waits long enough, he'll come to her, and she'll be able to get what she wants. The employees of the shop are still getting used to Ines's new management style, but they seem to be adjusting well. They're a bit wary of her, but they're trying to make the best of it. One of them asks if she needs anything, and she replies that she's fine, and they should just focus on their work. She's trying to keep things business as usual. Another employee mentions that he'll be in the blacksmith, and Ines thinks to herself that they're starting to feel more comfortable around her. They're relaxing, and that's a good sign. She's also thinking about the shop's previous owner, who seemed to have been pretty bad at their job, and she's making a mental note to change the sign outside the shop. It's a small thing, but it's a start. Ines is waiting patiently for Kallad to arrive, and she's thinking that it shouldn't be long now. She's anticipating his arrival, and she's ready to make her move. Kallad walks into the shop, and Ines greets him warmly, trying to make a good impression. She explains that she's the new owner of the shop, and Kallad seems slightly taken aback by the news. He drops a sword in front of her, and Ines asks if he wants to repair it, trying to sound professional. As she touches the sword, she thinks to herself that she's found what she's been looking for, and she can't help but feel a sense of excitement. She's also thinking about how she left work early to try the special stew, but it's sold out right before her eyes, and she's feeling a little disappointed. Ines is trying to focus on the task at hand, but she can't help but think about Kallad's reputation, and she's wondering what's true. She thinks to herself that she should approach him slowly and not stare at him too much, or he might get the wrong idea. Ines explains that the orders are backlogged, and it'll take 2 days to fix the sword, and Kallad seems to accept this. However, when Ines mentions that she thinks she's met him before, Kallad denies it, and Ines is taken aback by his decisive denial. She's thinking to herself that he can't have forgotten her face, and she's wondering what's going on. Ines reminds him that they met during the bank incident, and Kallad seems to remember. She thanks him for his help and introduces herself, passing him her business card. Kallad takes the card and says he'll come back in 2 days, and Ines is thinking to herself that she can't let him go that easily. She calls out to him and asks if she can help him avoid trouble, and Kallad is skeptical. He asks if she wants something in return, and Ines is offended, saying that she's not looking for anything and she's got plenty of resources. She moves closer to him and touches him, saying that she'll let him know about any trouble that might come his way if he accepts her offer. Kallad is hesitant and eventually says forget it, and Ines is left wondering what to do next. Ines is chatting with Shamor, her trusted assistant, about her plans to help Kallad Asdeon, the man she's been trying to meet. Shamor is curious about Kallad's importance, and Ines reveals that he's the key to regaining her ability. She explains that her ability returned after meeting Kallad, and she's determined to take care of him. Shamor is reassured by Ines's confidence and decisiveness. As they talk, Ines mentions that she's the only one who knows about her ability, apart from her grandfather and younger brother. Shamor was once a notorious mercenary who was abandoned by her family, but Ines took her in and cared for her. Now, Shamor is fiercely loyal to Ines. Ines asks Shamor about the letter she requested, and Shamor hands it over. Ines is less than enthusiastic about the letter, which appears to be another blind date proposal. She thinks to herself that she's too busy making money to worry about romance. She's also thinking that maybe she should find a fake fiancé to avoid these awkward situations. Later, Ines is getting impatient, wondering why Kallad hasn't shown up. She decides to take matters into her own hands and go find his house. As she's about to leave, Shamor hands her a red envelope, which is usually used for proposals or marriage discussions. The sender is the Asdeon Marquis family, and Ines is intrigued. She jokes that it's time to go on a date, and Shamor raises an eyebrow, clearly amused. Ines is thinking to herself that this could be an interesting development, and she's curious to see where it will lead. She's also thinking about Kallad and how she needs to find him before her ability disappears completely. She's determined to make the most of this opportunity, and she's not going to let it slip away. Shamor is watching Ines, and she can see the determination in her eyes. She knows that Ines is a force to be reckoned with, and she's excited to see what she'll do next. Ines is busy giving orders to her staff, making sure everything is perfect for the upcoming event. She notices a statue that needs to be moved and points it out to her staff. As they scramble to fix it, she realizes that one important person is missing: Das Asdeon, the second son of Marquis Asdeon. Suddenly, Das appears, adjusting his outfit, and Ines is relieved that he's back. However, she notices that Das seems a bit off, and she wonders what's bothering him. As they prepare for the event, Ines and Das chat about their plans for the future. Ines mentions that marrying into the Eldin family would be a great opportunity for their family to enter politics. Das agrees, but seems hesitant, and Ines senses that there's something on his mind. She presses him for more information, and Das reveals that he's worried about Kallad Asdeon, his brother, ruining the event. Ines reassures him that everything will be fine, but Das is still skeptical. As they continue to chat, Ines realizes that Das is quite clever and resourceful, always thinking several steps ahead. She's impressed by his problem-solving skills and thinks to herself that he's a great asset to their family. Meanwhile, Das is thinking to himself that this is all so tiring, and he wishes he could just relax. Ines, on the other hand, is thinking about how she needs to convince Kallad to work with her. She's determined to make it happen and is already planning her next move. As they arrive at their destination, Das calls out to Ines, letting her know that they've arrived. Ines is ready to take on whatever challenges come her way, and she's excited to see what the future holds. Ines arrives at the residence of Marquis Asdeon, and she's greeted by Das, who's being overly charming. She thinks to herself that Kallad, the adoptive son, has a complicated relationship with his family, and it's clear that they're not close. Kallad seems surprised to see Ines, and she realizes that he didn't know she was coming. Das introduces Ines to Kallad, and they exchange pleasantries. Ines notices that Kallad seems to be hiding something, and she's curious about what's going on. As they sit down, the Marquis' wife starts talking about the proposal, and Ines realizes that she's been set up. The Marquis' wife is pushing for Ines to marry Das, but Ines has other plans. She reveals that she's interested in marrying Kallad, not Das, and the room falls silent. Das looks shocked, and Kallad seems surprised but also intrigued. Ines thinks to herself that this is going to be interesting, and she's excited to see how things will play out. The Marquis' wife is trying to process what's happening, and Das is trying to wrap his head around the fact that Ines rejected him. Kallad, on the other hand, seems to be considering Ines's proposal, and she's wondering what he'll decide. Ines is thinking to herself that she needs to convince Kallad to marry her, and she's willing to do whatever it takes. She's got a plan, and she's going to make it happen. The Marquis's wife is trying to intervene, but Ines is having none of it. She's determined to get what she wants, and she's not going to let anyone get in her way. Kallad is watching Ines, and he's impressed by her confidence and determination. He's starting to think that maybe marrying her wouldn't be so bad after all. Das, on the other hand, is getting more and more agitated. He can't believe that Ines rejected him, and he's starting to feel like he's been played. The tension in the room is palpable, and it's clear that things are about to get interesting. Kallad Asdeon, the unluckiest man in the world, has lived a life full of misfortune, and his nickname says it all. He was abandoned in an orphanage as a baby, but luckily he was adopted by a noble family. However, his adoptive parents had a son a few years later, and Kallad's childhood became a lonely and alienating experience. His life was a constant battle, and he had to be on guard every moment, even when eating or sleeping. In those tough days, Kallad learned to give up, but there was one thing he couldn't let go of: his sword. He found solace in holding a sword, and it gave him the strength to keep fighting against his misfortune. After much hard work and perseverance, Kallad joined the Imperial Knights, but his misfortune followed him. He became the owner of the demon sword Tigrios due to an unexpected incident, and his fate was sealed. He was sentenced to a time-limited life. Betrayed by those he trusted, Kallard's honor fell into abyss, and he resigned himself to his fate. He's been living in isolation ever since, trying to make the most of the time he has left. Presently, Ines is shocking everyone by announcing that she wants to get engaged to Kallard, not Das. The Marquis's wife is stunned, and Das is furious. Ines is unfazed, and she explains that she likes Misfortune, which is why she wants Kallard as her fiancé. Kallard, meanwhile, is confused about why Ines came to his house and proposed an engagement. Ines teases him about not coming to the shop and missing out on the special stew. Kallard is annoyed, but Ines is undeterred. She suggests they talk while walking, and Kallard agrees. As they walk, Ines asks Kallard if there's anyone he likes, and he replies that there isn't. Ines seizes the opportunity and asks Kallard if he wants to date her. However, she clarifies that it's just a pretend relationship to appease the people around her who are pressuring her to get married. Kallard is taken aback, but Ines is waiting for his response. She's confident that she can convince him to go along with her plan. Kallard, on the other hand, is thinking to himself that this is all too sudden, and he's not sure what to make of Ines's proposal. He's wary of getting involved with someone who seems to be hiding something, but at the same time, he's curious about what Ines has planned. As they continue walking, Ines is thinking to herself that she's got Kallard right where she wants him. She's determined to make this pretend relationship work, no matter what it takes. Kallard is trying to process everything that's happening, but Ines is moving too fast. She's already planning their next move, and Kallard is struggling to keep up. He's starting to feel like he's in over his head, but he's not sure how to get out of this situation. Ines, on the other hand, is feeling more and more confident. She's got Kallard right where she wants him, and she's not going to let him get away. She's determined to make this pretend relationship a success, even if it means using a few tricks up her sleeve. She's proposing a fake relationship to him, and he's skeptical. He asks why he has to be her fake lover, and she replies that she loves his eye color. However, he's not convinced, and she explains that he meets certain conditions. She jokes that she doesn't want her fake lover to fall in love with her, and he raises an eyebrow. She offers to help him live a normal life, free from misfortune, and he's intrigued. However, he's also wary, knowing that his misfortune can affect those around him. He warns her that getting involved with him could be dangerous, but she seems undeterred. The demon sword is chatting with him, making jokes about his brother's reactions. He's amused, but also a bit annoyed. The sword asks him if he's going to accept her offer, and he replies that he will refuse. The sword is surprised, asking why he wouldn't want to take advantage of the opportunity. He's thinking to himself that he should have stayed away from her and her proposal. He's worried that getting involved with her will only lead to trouble. Others are discussing her proposal, wondering why she would want to get involved with him, given his reputation for being unlucky. They think that she might be taking a risk, and that she might end up bearing a loss. One person jokes that she might be a scammer and that he shouldn't trust her. However, others point out that she's a count's daughter, known for her wealth and beauty. They wonder what she sees in him, and whether she's really willing to take on the risks associated with his misfortune. He's still thinking about her proposal, weighing the pros and cons. He's not sure what to make of her, or whether he can really trust her. The demon sword is still chatting with him, trying to convince him to accept her offer. It's saying that having a lover could be beneficial, and that it might even help to prevent misfortune. However, he's still hesitant, and he's not sure if he's ready to take that risk. He's thinking about his past experiences and how they've always ended in misfortune. He's not sure if he's ready to open himself up to the possibility of getting hurt again. Thanks for tuning in. If you're hooked and want more, please comment and subscribe. Your comments and subscriptions fuel my motivation to continue. I'll see you in the next part.